very happy with that. The last,
Now
I
you
might
can
interject
speed
something.
home quicker.
I was asked, I know 3 people, why do we do North Street instead of Central Street?
a great
It's true.
question. I
It's a
have
great
that question too.
And I just said Central Street is a far more expensive undertaking, and the obstacles associated with that, substantial when it comes to the trees and the rocks and everything in the way. But I had at least 3 people ask me, it's nice to do a North Street, but why do they do Central Street? And we did patch Central Street, but
I did have the same.
Central Street is in dire need, but the undertaking and the cost of doing Central Street will be significantly more significant, the cost, but.
We didn't mean to sidetrack. You got anything else?
No, just 2 more things, and I'll try to be brief. Mr. O'Leary brought up at we had a hearing for the limo company, and you had mentioned about that person registering their vehicles, and so the excise tax comes here. Well, since then, I'm just assuming it has to be something related to that. I've received some phone calls about residents contacting me, and I won't give names or anything, and I just need some direction. Maybe the community at home should be listening. They have cars parked in their neighborhoods that have New Hampshire license plates. And I think what you brought up kind of kind of brought it to light to some people. And I'm really not 100% sure what to tell them, so I've just been telling them to go to RMV if they're really that concerned. But I'm not sure us as a town even has any jurisdiction over that, or we can give some
The
guidance.
registry has a program.
Yeah, they do.
You can call in.
So it's the RMV.
You're absolutely right, the RMB.
Actually, in years past, we have gotten involved and actually knocked on some doors, I think, and found out where they're principally garaged. And again, some people who have summer homes up in New Hampshire register them out of there, but they're using them as daily commuter vehicles here. And there was a little bit of a crackdown a few years back on that.
Well, for the folks at home, maybe they don't know. I mean, maybe our community, there's some people that just don't know that. And we need the excise money. We need the excise tax money, so. And the last thing is, I just want to pass along a happy Thanksgiving to the community, because by the time we get together again, we'll be past that. So a happy and safe Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you.
And good luck to the Hornets.
Yeah.
I just want to give I know this has been reported in the paper and at school committee meetings, but an update on the secondary school building project. Request for owner project managers has been published. The deadline to submit is November 24th. The secondary school building committee will have their selection process on December, I'm sorry, I thought I had it right, but I just don't think, on December 7th, starting at 5:30, the 3 finalists will be interviewed at 5:30, 6:40, and 7:50. They'll be held at the middle school library. Following those interviews, selection will be made of one of the 3 finalists. From there, so everyone knows, it then goes on to the MSBA, in which they will have their owner project managers review panel meeting, which is tentatively set for their first meeting in January, either January 3rd or January 10th. So that project is moving along. We have a time frame and a time schedule, so that's the most recent update concerning the secondary school building project. Item number 2, I found it of interest. I was reading in the paper last week. I forget whether or not it was the Boston Herald or Boston Globe at the end of last week that, like what the majority of this board proposed at town meeting concerning a home rule petition, Mayor Tom Menino of City of Boston actually is going to propose the Boston City Council to petition the state legislature for a home rule petition concerning health insurance and the cost of health insurance for the city of Boston. So that article just jumped out at me, thinking that Mayor Menino in the city of Boston is going to propose what we try to do here in North Reading. Item number 3, I just echo Mr. Prisco's comments, and I wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving holiday.
Just, excuse me, what Mayor Menino is proposing is not what was proposed in the home rule petition. It's different.
Well,
The objective is the same, though, is it not?
You did.
It's to form a local GIC at the local level, and it does not preclude collective bargaining necessarily, and it does give labor a seat at the table, which is quite different than what was proposed at town meeting. I'm
Mr.
sure it's
Yule.
going to get a lot of discussion, both at the local level and on Beacon Hill.
Say something?
We went out of turn, I guess, so we're back. We're
We're
gonna,
back around. Well, it's been that
we're gonna-
kind of, it's
yeah,
been that kind of a meeting,
interesting.
so we
He
mixed
was
it up.
trying to clarify what he believes
I-
the mayor
which
is doing.
But I wanted to also thank Susan Magna. She's been doing a super job there with the veterans. The dinner and then the celebration the other day. It was a beautiful day, and it was well-attended. I think this is the most it's been attended. They ran out of food, I understand.
Yeah.
So.
It wasn't because I was there, but.
Well, no, I'll tell you, I walked
Sign
in
of
the,
good
I walked in
celebration.
the room, and the Boy Scouts had eaten everything before we all got there. Also, with it, I wanted to mention about North Street, because I was thinking about that. I do my runs, and I come along North Street, and I come around the turn, I said, this is beautiful. This is like running on a carpet, you know, and I'm running up the hill, then I make a left onto Central Street. And so much for the carpet. So, but they did a super job on North Street. And the reason why I'm running is because we have the turkey trot coming up Thanksgiving morning. I don't have the flyer with me, but everybody in North Reading that is willing and able to participate can, and you can, I don't have his phone number, but it's Joe Davis. I say I don't have his number, but, so I'm looking to compete with a few, anybody here running? No, sorry, no, I guess not.
One of the prep
Unless
games.
there's an ambulance following me.
And it's
Unless
gonna be
I'm
on
being chased.
Thanksgiving Day, so I also wish everybody a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Just want to report to the board that Mike and I and Greg and Dick Carnevale met on wastewater this week. And we are trying to move this project forward, just so you know that there is activity in that area. Second is Sean and I will be meeting on Friday with the financial planning team as we take our second meeting and discussion of the beginning of formulating the issues associated with our anticipated revenue for FY 2012 versus our expenses. Very early in the game, but the beginning of the process to make things visible and to start to deal with those issues now that we're past the question 3 issue, at least. We know things didn't get worse than we anticipated them being, although our anticipation of where they are not necessarily that great. And lastly, I do want to wish everybody a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and to remind those people that are going to the senior Thanksgiving dinner on Sunday. I think it starts, dinner's at 1:30. He's got it right in front
I
of him.
think it's at 1:30, but we have to be there
No,
1:15 or something like that?
It says 12:45 on my attendance.
I think the dinner starts at 1. Dinner will be served.
Served at 1,
1:30.
so you want to be there before dinner's
Well,
served, right?
there's some pictures to be taken. and so-
1:30.
dinner?
I have this.
Dinner is
I
served
had
at
dinner
1:30.
Yes.
Do we know what's going in here? You heard? Greg, you heard what's going in?
No, we do not know.
Out on the Stop and Shop?
Yeah, do we know what's going into the one that's being vacated?
There's a ceremony from 6 to 8 on Thursday. I should mention that. I think the public is invited.
Right.
I've been asked to say a few words. I think it's 7 o'clock.
It was 6 to 8.
Yeah,
6
6 to 8.
Yeah. But do we know what's being proposed for the one that they're vacating yet?
I have not heard.
I haven't
All
heard any.
rumors.
The only
What's that?
rumor I heard
All
was they were
rumors.
gonna run the 2 of them until they cleaned out the inventory, and no one has said boo about what's going in there. And I suspect that's because nobody knows at this point. I've heard that the gas station was gonna remain there.
Yes, that's right.
I would imagine, based on the expense of moving a gas station, the best stay there.
Bob, did they have any obligation to let us know within a certain period of time before they, I mean, I
Well,
realize it's
they
their
have to go through a
property.
permitting process, and I would imagine when they go knocking on the town hall door or going before the ZBA or the CPC, depending on what they're proposing to do, we'll know about it.
So then they don't have to really say.
Now, it may be that, they've had a bunch of potential ideas and nothing has come to a point where they want to talk about it yet. I don't know. Maybe we'll learn something
Right, I'll be
on
there with
Thursday
you.
night. That's all I have. We have an executive session
I would
scheduled.
propose an executive session for the purposes of litigation or collective bargaining strategy where such discussions would be detrimental to the town's
We had one more thing, didn't we?
Yes.
The stormwater.
We do, formation
Oh.
of those committees under number 10.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Gonna say something earlier, but you'd already gotten deep into it, so
We should have
Sorry
said it.
about that.
I skipped over it.
it's my fault, sorry.
That's not your fault.
Did you wanna say something, you want me to just go read the
No,
motion?
our
Okay.
board's already approved it in
Right.
principle at the last meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I move to establish a stormwater advisory committee and a water and wastewater planning advisory committee, and to adopt their mission as set forth in documents dated November 1, 2010.
Second?
A motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
Just a
Now we
motion
can have
in tonight's packet. Just a motion in tonight's
I
packet.
saw the small motion, right?
So it was. Number 10 at the top.
Who's paying tonight?
Okay,
Thank you for attending tonight.
Bye, Deanna.
have we written a
No, not yet.
motion? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move to enter into executive session for the purposes of
Collective bargaining and litigation strategy.
collective bargaining and litigation strategies, and further the Board of Selectmen will return to open session for the sole purpose of adjournment.
Oh, we already did that, or you did that?
Second.
Yeah.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, second by Mr. O'Leary. Mr. O'Leary?
Aye.
Mr. Prisco?
Aye.
Mr. Delaney?
Aye.
Mr. Yule? Chair votes aye. Gentlemen,
Thank you.
Good night, Bob.
we'll give you a few minutes to close down and
I'll be right back.
put the equipment away.
See you on Sunday.
Bob, is there a difference